introduce to you Mr. Gregory Stanton, founder, president, and chairman of Genocide Watch. Mr. Stanton, please join us.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's a great honor to be with you today as we remember these 30,000 martyrs, these men and women who died at the hands of Raisi and of the Iranian regime that continues to tyrannize that country. We have watched genocide after genocide. We've watched genocide in the Holocaust. We've watched genocide in Rwanda, in Armenia, in Darfur, in Myanmar. And we have watched genocide in Iran, because that is what Raisi brought to Iran, genocide. 30,000 people killed because of their political party and their religious beliefs. That is called genocide. And so we are washed in the blood of these martyrs, a tide of blood that is swept across the world. But there's also another tide that is sweeping the world. It's the tide of justice. Justice is the force of God socially expressed. And justice is a force that no government, no tyranny, no system can resist, because it is God's force. And we represent that force here today. We represent these martyrs. We are the continuation of their lives, because the human race is not divided into multiple races. There is only one race, the human race. And whatever happens to someone in Iran also happens to me, and it happens to you. That is why today we honor these people. We think about them, we memorialize them. We are here with some of the people who were their parents, who were their brothers and sisters, who survived them. And that is one of the reasons why we will win. Because the force of justice, because it is divine, is also the force of life. And life will always triumph over death. That is the message of every religion. It's the message of Islam. It's the message of Christianity, of Judaism. It's the message of all of the religions of the world, that life will triumph over death. And it has triumphed here today. So, as we think of how we can resist this regime, this evil regime, that's what it is, it's an evil regime. We must be aware that it is still planning genocide. It is still threatening genocide. It has participated in genocide in Syria, where it supported the Assad regime's genocide against the Sunni Muslims, against the Christians, and against the Kurds, and against other minority groups. It has supported genocide in Lebanon. It has supported genocide again and again. And it has threatened genocide against the state of Israel. It has promised to destroy Israel. And that, folks, is called a threat of genocide, because it's the threat to destroy a nation. Well, we can't tolerate that kind of threat And it is why we must be especially aware of a special threat that Iran now presents to us, and that is its desire for nuclear weapons. John Bolton was right, and who have warned us about the threat of an Iran that has nuclear weapons. Because with one nuclear weapon, it could literally wipe out most of the state of Israel. It could wipe out any place that it sent that. And it has the missiles to do it. So we have to be very, very aware of the threat that the Iranian government now presents to the entire world. Not just to Israel, but to everyone. Because if you think nuclear war is going to stop with one nuclear weapon, you're living in a dream world. We have a world that still has genocides going on. We have one right now in Ukraine, in which Russia is committing genocide against Ukraine. That also must be stopped. So it's no wonder that Mr. Putin has met with the leaders of Iran. He's met with the leaders of other countries that are in favor of genocide. It's no surprise. They're allied with each other, just as Hitler was allied with Mussolini and with the Japanese during the Second World War, because they were intent on genocide. Genocidists stick together. And that's why we also must unite in our opposition to these forces of genocide that are represented by Ebrahim Raisi. Now, I was once in the State Department and, in fact, helped to draft the UN resolutions to create the Rwandan Tribunal and the Cambodian Tribunal. So I know that even after many years, people can be brought to justice for genocide. That is what our aim should be. It should be to place Mr. Raisi on trial. It should not be to permit him to come to the United States. And even if there is a treaty between the U.S. and the United Nations that requires that we allow any head of state to come to the UN, my advice to our law enforcement, because genocide is a crime of universal jurisdiction in the United States, my advice to our law enforcement officials is to arrest him as soon as he gets to the U.S. And I personally hereby volunteer to carry the handcuffs. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're here representing a force that is much bigger than we are, a force that will be the tide that sweeps away this Iranian tyranny and that replaces it with a democracy and the rule of law. I look forward to those days when we can all be together and declare that Iran is again free. Thank you.